All right, guys, and welcome to the Underdog's Edge podcast. And I'm excited that you're joining me here today. And this is going to be a solo podcast, so no guest today, but we'll have a guest tuned in next week. And I'm really excited. It's going to be an awesome guest. Really excited to dive in and go over some really productive things with him next week. So this week is just going to be myself, and we're going to be going over some quick things on personal values and why personal values are so critical, not only to our success and our production, but our well-being as well. And I think it's just super huge. We live in a world nowadays where not a lot of people necessarily may know their values or may know truly what is super critical for them and what is super important for them. And I think the more clarity that we can get as individuals on what our values are, that will leak off into us making way more powerful decisions that are going to impact humanity at a large. And I think, there's all kind of crazy stuff happening in the world. And you know what? There always has been crazy stuff, but this is the time that we're living in now. And a lot of us want to make changes. I think 99% of people on this world want positive things to happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean we always take the actions that lead to positivity. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons why we don't do that as individuals is not out of malicious intent, although sometimes it is. I think a lot of it is just actual true confusion. A lot of internal confusion, a lot of internal uncertainty. And whenever there's uncertainty and there's confusion, it's really difficult for people to make really productive and successful decisions and actions, and to be able to take command of their life, command of a situation, and be able to help a situation, whether it's small, big, large, whether it's in the family unit, the community unit, the state unit, the government. It doesn't matter what level you're working at. It's really difficult to make really powerful decisions and actions if you are uncertain or you have a lack of clarity within yourself. So I hope this podcast shines a little bit of light on that, gives you some action steps that you can take moving forward to help you identify your 5 core values as an individual. And you know what? I think this should be taught in the school system. I think every single child, it doesn't matter if they're in, grade school or junior high and high school, they should probably do it in every single grade. But I feel like we should teach individuals on how to identify what their values are. As individuals, when we know our values, we can really direct our lives with a lot of empowerment and a lot of intentionality. And it's never going to be perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. No one is perfect. People make mistakes. I make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. This is not going to fix mistakes, but it will allow for intentional, empowered action to help not only yourself, but the people that you love and care for, and then people in your community and the people in your outreach. So let's jump right into this. Creating your 5 core values as an individual. Super critical. I promise you, if you do this today, if you create your 5 core values today, I promise you the amount of clarity you're going to receive from this is going to be absolutely huge. And it's going to allow you to go into your new week, your new day with so much more vitality and energy and passion, because now you have something that you can really plan your life with, right? Your values, which are really important. So let's jump right into this. Now, a lot of this content that I'm getting did not directly come from me. So I'm facilitating this. I'm the messenger. I also am an activist. So I actually practice what I preach on this. I promise you, I am going through a lot of this stuff myself, but I thought it was so powerful. I wanted to share it with you. So this is actually coming from a high-level coaching, high-performance coaching program that I'm a part of. And it's really an awesome program. It's the High Performance Coaching by Brichard. You can look him up. He's on Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. High-level guy, coaches in mentors, high-level CEOs and business owners and community activists and religious leaders and the whole 9 yards. So this is going to be actually coming from his coaching program. I am not taking credit for this. So I'm just kind of facilitating it, and because it was very impactful for me. So there are 5 major areas of our lives that we care very, very much about. And it's our health, our relationships, our emotional well-being, our career mission, and our lifestyle. So 5 very, very key areas of our lives that every single person feels pretty strongly about one way or another, right? At one time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over how to identify your core values and break it down for you. So let's repeat those 5 areas of life just so you can write these down. You can go back and listen to the podcast if you need to. Health, relationships, emotional well-being, career mission. Career mission is 1, by the way, and lifestyle. One more time. Health, relationships, emotional well-being, career/mission, and lifestyle. The 5 areas that we are going to identify our core values. So once you identify these areas, which we have just done, the next step is we want to ask ourselves this question for every single area of our life. So please write this question down. And the question is, what do you value the most in this area of your life? So if this is for health, you're going to ask this question. If it's for relationships, emotional well-being, career/mission, and lifestyle, you're going to ask yourself, what do you value the most in this area of your life? We'll repeat this one more time to see if you're taking notes. What do you value the most in this area of your life? And there is no perfect answer, guys. So just write it out. Just write it out. What do you value the most? This could be 4 or 5 sentences. It could be 2 paragraphs. It could be 5 words. Just write it out. Once you have that answer, the next question you're going to ask yourself in this process, and you're going to do this for every single area of your life, is if you had to narrow it down to the most important thing you value in this area, what would that number 1 value be? Okay, so this is actually where you're going to identify your core value. Okay, so let me say this one more time. This is the question you're going to ask yourself for every single area of your life here. If you had to narrow it down to the most important thing you value in this area, what would that number 1 value be? This is really, really awesome. So this is where you actually are going to identify your core value. And there's going to be 2 more questions that you're going to ask for every single one of these areas. And we're going to jump into question number 3. And number 3 says, if you had to set up a rule to ensure you live this number 1 value consistently, what would the rule be? And it says, state it as a directive, a declaration that you will not break. Let me say this one more time. Question number 3. If you had to set up a rule to ensure you live this number 1 value consistently, what would the rule be? State it as a directive, a declaration that you will not break. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, guys, is after I go through these questions, I'm going to go through one of my examples that I actually have done, and just to kind of give you an idea of what it looked like for me, and maybe that can help you in your process to do this for yourself. The last question is, if you end up breaking from this value, how can you get back on track fast? If you end up breaking from this value, how can you get back on track fast? All right, guys, so let's recap real quick. The intention of this podcast is to help you be able to identify your 5 main core values as an individual. Why is that important? Because if you as an individual are clear on your 5 core values, you are now way more empowered to make powerful decisions to not only positively affect yourself, but the people you love and care for. If every single person in this world did that, and I know that's not going to happen, but if it did, wow, this whole world would blow up in positivity. And look, that's not going to happen But if it could just take a little bit of us to do this, I think we can make a lot of positive change. Okay. All right. So that's why we're doing this. And then to do this, there's 5 areas of our lives that we're going to go through to identify our 5 core values. And those areas are health, relationships, emotional well-being, career/mission, and lifestyle. Okay. Now, there's 4 questions that we're going to ask ourselves for every single area of our lives here to identify our core values. And these questions are: question number 1, what do you value the most in this area of your life? Now, the second question, if you had to narrow it down to the most important thing you value, what would that value be? The third question is, if you had to set up a rule to ensure that you live this number 1 value consistently, what would it be? And the last one is, if you end up breaking from this value, how can you get back on track fast? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what I did for the health sector on this, the health area. That way you can kind of see what it looks like. And then maybe this will help you develop your core values. So health, what do you value the most in this area of your life? I put being physically fit and able to perform at a high level. I love being athletic and able to work out and perform. I also like being physically attractive. It makes me feel good. I love to feel vital with energy. That's what I put. Okay, that's what I put of why this is valuable for me in health. Now, the next question is, if you had to narrow it down to the most important thing you value in this area, this is what would that number 1 value be? And the value that I identified is performance. I value performance. I value the ability to physically perform at a high level. And that's what I put, performance. Now, the third question is, if you had to set up a rule to ensure that you live this number 1 value consistently, what would the rule be? I said, I will train weekly to increase my athletic performance and ability. I will train weekly to increase my athletic performance and ability. The last question is, if you end up breaking from this value, how can you get back on track fast? And I put, I will do a high intensity workout right away to push my body and get my heart rate up. So this is what I put for me. I identify performance as my first core value in all of this. I have 4 others. I'm going to keep those private. And you know, but get your values identified and go through this process for yourself. I promise you, if you can identify your 5 core values as an individual, this is going to help your strategic planning in your businesses, your personal life, the way you conduct yourself, how you make decisions, how you go about challenges, how you go about opportunities, how you impact the world. How, if you're one of those people, if you're a mover and a shaker and you want to go out and change the world, you got to know your core values before you do that. It's going to be really hard to make a big impact if you don't know what your core values are. So guys, please go through this exercise. It's really, really powerful. Identify your 5 core values as an individual. This is going to help you, but it's going to help the people that you're around. This is going to help your team members, your coworkers, your family, your significant other, your friends, all the whole 9 yards, the world at large. This is going to help everybody. So go through this process. And next week, guys, we're going to have a guest on the show, on the podcast. This was a teaching podcast today, solo for myself. I hope you got value from it. I hope it's something that you're able to take action on the day. This podcast is for action takers. It's for people that are movers, shakers, people that are out there wanting to grow themselves and maximize their potential. This is for people that want to challenge themselves. This is for people that say, you know what, I'm not just going to complain on social media. I'm actually going to empower myself so I can be a positive influence for the world. This is for people to take responsibility, and I freaking love it. So thank you for joining in on this podcast today. Like, share, subscribe, show me some love. Go to my YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube. I'm working my best to get as many subscribers as possible. Got a long ways to go to get to my goal, but I'm super ecstatic that you joined today. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. Go out there and get after it.